Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Hello, everyone. My name is DryeGuy, and today I am here with the awesome Reece Bridger. Now, Reece is a comedian, a writer, a voice actor, but I'm not here to steal his thunder. I would like for him to tell us about himself. So, Reece, who are you?
Well, first of all, I'm glad to say I am your friend and I am a colleague of yours. So, I'm just going to give it up for you as well because fantastic. Thank you very much for having me here. Basically, what can I say about myself? I am a. I hold an honours degree in creative writing, and I have all the job prospects and future career paths of what goes with that. So basically, nothing to do with my life, and yeah. As you say, I'm a writer. I've written 3 books, which are currently self-published on Amazon, iBooks, etc. I'm a voice actor. I've voiced and will voice in several online animations and video games and such. And primarily, I am the creator, writer, etc., of Zulaplex, the critically acclaimed online audio drama. It's a workplace audio dramedy centered around this bunch of colorful characters in a multiplex in middle America in a city where not everything really makes sense. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I have going on with my life. How are you today?
Oh, that was great. By the way, I'm doing really good too. I woke
Good.
up, had a nice sandwich, did some voice work, just dry guy things.
There's nothing starts a day better than a good sandwich. Just nothing.
Now, would you please, would you mind going into further detail about what it is that inspired you to become like the writer, comedian, and voice actor that you are today? And I think everybody would really love to hear that.
Oh, wow. It all started back in 1892. No. A few years after I was born, I used to get really into this Enid Blyton series. Any Brits out there, you probably know that name. Any Americans? She wrote a lot of books, the famous 5 specifically, but my favourite books, at least I think they were Enid Blyton. Great, I didn't research this, was the Faraway Tree books, and those were very, very special children's books to me. They were very near and dear to my heart, and I started writing my own books back then, and of course I now know that to be fan fiction, but I was 6, what can you do? And that's what started me on the dreaded path of becoming a creative individual, and hoping that I could make a career out of it. Started writing my first serious book at about 11. Then I decided I hated it and started it again. Then I decided I hated it again and started it over again, and it became a trilogy, which became a saga. And I'm currently on book 4 of that saga, and I'm going to be writing that until the day I fucking die. Is swearing okay?
Yeah, no, swearing is perfectly fine. That's fine on my end.
Okay, it's going to go on for fucking ever. But, after that, I decided, you know what, I enjoy this, but I also have this other idea I have. It's for more of a modern, contemporary piece, because the books are all fantasy. They're high fantasy. You got you got some George Martin in there, you got some Tolkien in there, and you've got a little bit of Zelda in there on the low key, but, yeah, I had this other idea for something more modernized, something more relevant to today, I guess. And started making that in 2000 and late 2013 with some of my voice acting friends I had just met online. These were people who were just starting in the industry as well, and already they've gone on to do so many great things with their voice acting as well. And here we are today. We're on 4 years later, and now we are finally taking the big leap into animation with our very own animated pilot. And that's what I'm primarily here to talk about today, is the IndieGoGo campaign that we have to fund Hostile Work Environment, the animated pilot episode for Zulaplex.
Right. Now, I myself know what this is going to be about. You and I have been talking back and forth for a minute about this entire IndieGoGo, and we kind of been keeping it under wraps for just a bit until everything was, ready to finally be brought out to the masses to be seen.
Oh yeah.
What is the IndieGoGo, and what is it that we are trying to achieve with the hostile work environment?
Well, basically, if you're familiar with other crowdfunding campaign sites like Kickstarter and Patreon, you'll know that each different site has its own certain qualities that make it specific. I mean, like Kickstarter, it's the foundation of crowdfunding. Kickstarter is. So you've got the basic outline, like you put it all in the money, you get all the money. If you raise all the money, you got to have a specific ad campaign. Your video is hosted on Kickstarter, and then you've got Patreon, which is more subscription based. So you've got once a month or once every creation, which is what we've been using to fund the show primarily for the past 4 years, on and off. And then you've got other ones like IndieGoGo. IndieGoGo is quite different in the fact that it can be sort of something in between Patreon and Kickstarter. It started around film, like independent films and such, and that's where it started. It was a crowdfunding site specifically for independent films. But then it branched out to products and gadgetry and books and music and other sorts of small-time things that just to keep up with Kickstarter, because Kickstarter was becoming much more of the main platform for crowdfunding. But IndieGoGo in itself, it allows us to have a flexible goal, which means that if we don't actually reach our goal, which is for $16,000, then we get to keep whatever we have and raise the rest of the money however else we choose, or use the money that we already have raised to better produce the show that we have already spent so long pouring our hearts into and making the best show we can. And yeah, that's effectively it. It's a great way to bring people together around this one particular cause. Oh, and a credit to IndieGoGo. This doesn't affect our cause at all, but you can set up non-profits there. You can set up campaigns to raise money for charities, and that's something that Kickstarter doesn't have. It's a charity option, but that is an amazing thing that I'm really, really happy Kickstarter have done. I'm sure that a lot of causes have been helped majorly with this. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole thing about the IndieGoGo campaign itself. We're looking to raise $16,000 primarily for the animation of the episode, and in there you've also got storyboarding, and you've got music, and you've got Kickstarter's take, and you've got credit fees, just basically the minutiae of it. But it is primarily to fund actually getting the materials we need to have our partners at Escape Design Effects I think they're in California, to have them produce the episode visually, which is something we've been looking forward to for a long, long time.
Ooh. Now,
I can talk for a long time.
No. It's not that. It's like, if that doesn't get you guys excited to go and see this come through fruition, then I don't know what will. Because, like, I myself am excited about this. I want to see this come through fruition. I want to see this fully animated, see all the voice actors, actresses, the writers, everyone on this. I want to see it come to life, even though it already has come to life by definition of the audio drama itself, but seeing it as an actual animation is something not only I, but several other people who have also worked on the show, have listened to the show, and are helping fund the show would also want to see that. So keep in mind, there's going to be a link in the description box below to check out the IndieGoGo, and it would mean a lot to both me and Reece and everyone helping fund this if you guys would check it out and give your support to it. Now, kind of going to stray away just a little bit from like work itself and what's happening, and I want to kind of get into like a little lighter aspect of who you are, but I'm also going to still, pertain to your work as well. So my first question to you is, Reece, out of the characters you have created for the Zulaplex, which one do you find the most interesting to write for? Like, which one has just like that impact where you just start writing for them and it just feels so right. It feels so good.
Ooh, that's a tough question. I mean, one thing that I have learned going to university, specifically to learn how to write better, I actually wrote a blog post about this a few days ago on my new website. It was that the website itself was for a university project, so it hasn't actually got a set domain yet, but yeah, it was about speechcraft, and because Zulaplex has originally been an audio drama, I had to really focus a lot on speechcraft. And speechcraft is one of those very, very specific things that makes characters into people. So a great deal of the writing has to come from the conversation that's taking place. And I get excited about every single character under specific circumstances. I mean, every character in themselves is supposed to be very human. It's supposed to appeal to certain people who have maybe specific issues or specific, just things going on in their day-to-day lives that they just wish they could identify with more characters on TV. I mean, specifically, you've got, off the top of my head, we've got one character called Elise, and she is half German, but she is also albino. And you don't see many albino people in media, like on TV or in movies, and you don't really see many of them as an actual group of people with a certain condition. Instead, you see, like, the albino people from The Matrix or from Powder, and they're all portrayed as certainly mystic and, yeah, just mystical or otherwise evil or some sort of embodiment of power, and really they're people. They're people like anyone else with any other colour, except, of course, theirs comes from a more random chance than, genealogy and race and melanin, like, heritage. But, of course, every conversation that is written in Zulaplex does get me very excited, especially when it addresses specific issues. Like Elise, she hasn't really brought up much about her albinism just yet, but you've also got characters like Larry, and Larry has a very specific past in the fact that he also has a mental condition that he doesn't really talk about that much. But we recently had an episode in the second season of the audio drama where he had to come to terms with a very, very big part of his childhood that he was trying to escape, and this was bringing back all of the issues that he had growing up as a child that he had thought he had put past him, or he had put past him, but this was now being an unwelcome resurrection of those problems. So I guess the answer to your question is, like, every single character does excite a writer, especially, like, particularly myself in these characters for Zulaplex, because they can be so real, and you have the privilege of putting across some issues and some solutions to issues, and even just some reactions. Like, they might not be the perfect reactions to a certain situation, like you don't want to punch someone in the face for something they said, but it does get you very excited to write humans, to make people, instead of just having characters to enact what you write, is what I'm trying to say, I guess.
Okay. Now that was actually words. That was actually an answer that I wasn't really expecting, but I'm very blown away by it. So great job with that. Now for
Thank you. I like to surprise people. I like to walk up behind people and surprise them sometimes.
I mean, if you do that for me, I might screech a little bit, but I'd be like, "Oh, hey, it's Reece."
It's not the worst reaction I've ever had. It's not the worst reaction I've ever had. The worst reaction I've ever had, I think, left me with a black eye.
Oh.
I wasn't even doing it on purpose. I was just walking very quietly in a very loud place.
Oh my goodness, I am so sorry about that.
No, it's fine, it's fine. Some people are justifiably jumpy.
True. Now, with my next question, knowing that all content creators, whether it be writers, musicians, voice actors and actresses, so however you may see it, we tend to work ourselves a lot, and we like to reward ourselves with some kind of food or snack that we enjoy. So what kind of food or snack do you usually find yourself partaking in, whether it be a drink, a pastry, a sandwich, a meal itself, both before, during, and after you have done something?
That's actually a very interesting question. It's something that I share with my mother, is the fact that we like to drive ourselves with hunger. And that as a topic sentence is kind of alarming, but when you think about it, it's a form of motivation in a way. It's sort of like, okay, I'm feeling the hunger pang, I'm going to use this to motivate myself, and as soon as I've got this very important piece of work done, then I will go and get food. And I find that very satisfying, but also sometimes I have a habit of idly eating on the opposite end while I work, so, but otherwise food and drink, I like Pepsi, I like cola a lot. We recently got a soda stream machine in my house and I've been abusing the hell out of it, just to make my own diet cola at home. I cannot stand full cola or full Pepsi or anything like that. I just can't stand the taste, but diet stuff I've grown up with, and I'm pleased with that. Otherwise, I cannot get enough sushi. Sushi is, I think my bones are 50% maki rolls by now. I don't have marrow inside them anymore. I just have rice and maybe some salmon strip just idly in there. That's where my blood comes from, my soy sauce blood.
I mean, hey, sushi is very, very delicious.
Oh, the gods blessed us.
So you don't have like any kind of like favorite dessert, or are you just not like, a sweets kind of person?
Uh, on and off, I'm not generally a desserts kind of person. I mean, I will eat chocolate, especially white chocolate. I don't really know why white chocolate appeals to me so much, but I've got into it so much recently, and I will eat chocolate until, like, I pass out. And otherwise, things like chocolate cake and stuff, I do enjoy. But when it's in a restaurant scenario, or when it's like a proper, oh, after dinner, you have a dessert, that's just not me. I cannot really enjoy dessert after dinner, but I do enjoy sweet things. And it's yeah, that's kind of weird, I think, actually, now that I think about it. But everyone's different.
Hey, everybody's different and unique in their own way, right?
Yeah.
So now here's another very interesting question. As creative artists, there's always that, we watch a lot of TV shows growing up, whether it be cartoons, soap operas, movies, whatever you may deem it. And there's always that one, or either a plethora of characters we've just grown up with over the years that have influenced our creative mindset. Is there any, cartoon character or TV show character that you have grown up with over the years that have influenced, your creative mindset?
Oh, probably far too many. I have the advantage. Oh, I don't say advantage. I have the difference of perspective of being British. So I've had British TV to grow up with, especially some of the more classic things that, like, you just watch. If you're British, you have to watch them. So you have Blackadder specifically, or anything with Rowan Atkinson in it. Rowan Atkinson is a god, but specifically Blackadder, I grew up with that a lot, and you've got some very great wit writing in there. You've got some very good dialogue. You've got great characters that are sometimes venomous. You've got characters that are sometimes incredibly bold and funny. And at the same time, it takes place in different parts of history as well. So it's kind of like a mesh between the best parts of what we say today combined with the situations and problems that came with being in the Elizabethan era or in the Middle Ages. It's just, or even World War One. That was probably my favourite season, was the World War One season. Otherwise, TV. God, I can barely remember like those sorts of things now. I know I used to watch a lot of Disney movies growing up. Not not. There were some that I have skipped, like, completely. I have never actually seen The Little Mermaid.
What? Whoa.
Yes, I know, right? I have never actually seen The Little Mermaid. I saw Mulan, I saw Beauty and the Beast. I used to love... Oh, which one was the one that I loved? They're all just escaping me now. I really liked Cinderella growing up as well, especially for the songs. The music in that one was great. But Mulan itself, I think, was one of my favorites.
Okay. I mean, me, myself, I'm more of a Lion King kind of guy, but I'm just saying.
Oh, Lion King, yeah.
that is my pride and joy, but Mulan was actually another one of my favorites. It's actually in my top 5 favorites of my Disney movies, but wow, I'm sure you've never seen The Little Mermaid.
I have never.
Wow.
I know exactly what it's about. I know everything that's happened in it. Like, it's some sort of cultural absorption, I think. Like, I've known so many Disney fans. I've read so many Disney synopsises on Wikipedia and on reviews and stuff. And I've looked it up for, like, writing papers and stuff. And I know exactly what happens in it through and through. I have just never actually had the experience of sitting down and watching the movie. Like, I cannot actually remember ever sitting on a sofa or sitting on the floor as a child and watching Little Mermaid from start to finish. I've seen clips, but I just haven't seen the whole thing. It's weird like that, I guess, but hell, I don't know. I used to have a lot of... I used to have, like, this collection of cassettes back when I was young, like, back when we were still using video cassettes for TV and machines and such. And, yeah, VHS. Like, I used to have... Oh, what did we have then? We had, like, the old, very, very old 2-part Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy adaptation. That was a good one. And, yeah, I'm blanking on the rest, but it was mostly a few Disney movies and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and some other really old vintage tapes that we just had in this cabinet. And I can just remember all the times used to just spend all afternoon watching these great movies. Like my brother, he just turned 30. He's the one that was really into films. Like I would not know as much about films if it was not for him. He introduced me to my favorite movie of all time. So like, yeah, I guess most of what I know from films came from him.
Okay. That's... Whoa. Woo! That was
Heavy
incredible.
answers.
Yeah, no, that was incredible. No, I love that. Now...
Yeah, I think you learned a bit too much about me in that one.
Oh, pish posh. You can never know too much about an individual. Maybe. Depends.
I don't know. I've never seen The Little Mermaid. I think that might be a war crime.
Oh, just don't let Walt Disney hear you.
Oh, you do, those are two things you don't want to associate in the same sentence just because it's depressing, is Walt Disney and war crimes.
Oh, geez. Yeah, there was a lot of propaganda going around during the era of World War II dealing with a lot of Walt Disney's characters and whatnot. And I didn't know about that until like later on when I was in my university classes, and I'm like, what? This was a thing?
Yep. And then, of course, there's all the rumors about Walt Disney himself as a person, stuff he used to believe, and all the jokes that get made about that. But then you do have, like, even just the little bloopers, like how everyone went mad because they thought that what was it? They thought they spelled out in The Lion King with the petals. Like, did they think that they spelled out the word gay in Lion King? Like when he collapses in the flower beds and all the petals spring up into the sky.
Wow.
I think there was that. Yeah, and then there was also the one with the Little Mermaid's old VHS cover having a tower in the background that looks like a penis.
I definitely remember that.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Childhood ruined. Childhood ruined.
My childhood was ruined ever since I hit the age of 17. So, now, getting closer to the end of this, there's this second to the last question I have for you, and that is...
Okay.
Video games. Any kind of video games that have inspired you, that have just near and dear to your heart.
Kind of going back a few years, Legend of Zelda. The first Zelda game I ever played was Twilight Princess, and I got that on the Wii a few months after it came out. I remember finding it in the it was out of the new section at my local game, and it was great. I remember that it inspired me so much. And then after that, of course, came Skyrim. Skyrim was also a very fun game, and it really sort of exploded my perception of what kind of grandeur video games can have. And then, of course, I got the best game that I have ever played right now, and you are going to, I don't know, you maybe, or someone in the comments, most likely, if anyone in there is a video game nut, you're probably going to just sort of hear me when I say that I only came across this game 6 months ago and just go, what? And that is Borderlands 2.
What? Whoa.
Yeah, I am slow to everything. I am late to every game. Specifically this game, because it is by far the best game I have ever played is Borderlands 2, just because of the writing, like Claptrap and Handsome Jack and Lilith and all of the characters. What's her name? Tannis as well. She is a brilliantly written character. Like, all of them are brilliantly written, and I really admire great speechcraft in a game. Like, speechcraft all across the board is one of the things that I admire most about the creative world of development films. It's creativity, and it's the ability to capture life in what we say, and language is very beautiful for me, which is why I swear a lot, because I believe that certain words, like specifically swear words and cussing, they shouldn't be blocked out because, like, you know, they're bad words. Like, explain what the hell they mean. I mean, most of them are just body parts anyway, so what's the big deal? Yeah, but video games, it is also Halo. My first video game proper was Halo, and before that I used to grow up with Pokemon, of course, because like I had the Game Boy Color growing up. I think I've owned one of every generation that's ever come out. Not to say that I finished them all, but yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, I'm gonna agree with you on that as well. Borderlands 2 was a phenomenal series. It was probably the best one. I'm sorry, Borderlands 1 was great, but Borderlands 2 it took the cake.
It blew it out of the park. I'm so excited to see what's going to come out of Borderlands 3, because I know they're making that, and I'm sort of like, if there's anything that I could ever be in, if I could ever be a character in a video game, Borderlands 2, please, please, I will happily walk out of the recording studio to a guy with a syringe filled with the lethal injection. I will take that injection if it meant I could be in Borderlands 3.
That's dedication
Like,
right there.
would...
That is some
Oh,
dedication.
yeah. You get characters in video games. Like, I don't know what it is about robot characters, but you get games like Portal, you got Gladys and Weekly in Portal, the Portal franchise, and then you got Claptrap from Borderlands, especially Borderlands 2, because they wrote him so well in Borderlands 2. And I don't know why, but I love robot characters. Like, yeah, just robot characters themselves. I've actually played a few robot characters in the past in small video games and coming up a big video game as well, which is going to be a hell of a lot of fun. And I don't know, I just like, whenever someone mentions to me, okay, I've got a role and it's for a sassy robot, and I'm like, yes, sassy robot! I mean, I'm British. I mean, we live and breathe sass. Like, sarcasm is our native language, so...
All right. So, we're coming up to the closing remarks. And my last question to you, Reece, is what is an interesting story about yourself that you just fondly remember? You always, no matter how old you get, you always remember this one memory that you just love to remember. It's just a very fond, reminiscent memory.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good question. A lot of the time, like, when I find myself looking back on the past, I have a tendency of thinking about those cringe-worthy memories. Like, oh my god, I remember this one time I almost ran up and hugged a woman who looked like my mother from behind but wasn't my mother, and that could have been very bad. That could have been the worst day of my life. Or that first detention I ever got. Or that first day I ever tripped over in front of everyone and kind of just, I kind of just embarrassed myself. But good memories. Ooh, trying to think hard about that one, but I think it was quite possibly release day, and that is the release day of, like, any day that I've had a major project of mine actually come to fruition and sort of seen it there. Like, it's done, it is out there for people to enjoy. Like, the release of my first book, and any release day of any of my books, for example, the day we released the first ever Zulaplex episode was also a very good memory as well, because we got so many people watching that on the first day, and it's still our most viewed episode. So, a lot of people do sort of see that as like back when Zulaplex was at its rawest, before we progressed into the story, and it actually became more about the characters as well as the jokes. But also, the most recent one would have to be fairly recently. It was this Monday when we actually launched the campaign properly. We hit that big button. I did it on live stream. I did not know what the hell I was doing with OBS, but yeah, we launched the campaign and we had about $300 or so by the end of the day, and I was thrilled with that. We're currently sat at just under 750, which is fantastic considering that it's just day 3. But yeah, I am so excited to see where it goes, and that this could possibly be the most exciting period of my life. This could possibly be the part of my life where everything just goes full throttle into what I really want it to be about. And I'm so happy to share this with people like you. I'm kind of tearing up a bit, actually.
No, dude, that was beautiful. Oh my god. No, I'm happy you're sharing this with not only me, but everyone else and the people in the cast of the Zulaplex that you have been working with over the years. This it is a really big thing. This is a big deal, and I want to see this come to fruition. I want to see this complete. It's not only will give me satisfaction, it's gonna give you a fuck ton of satisfaction. And honestly, just thinking about the things that can come of this, like the way it can influence others. People can get attached to these characters. Yeah. People can learn a lot of things. This is something I really want to see happen. But again, it's not just dependent upon me, you, or our cast members. It's also dependent upon the people who are watching this, who listen to the Zulaplex audios, and who genuinely love the work that everyone puts out.
That's too true. It's not a team effort here. This is why they call it crowdfunding, is because it's all of us. And I am so happy to have everyone who has pledged so far, everyone who is going to pledge, everyone who will pledge in the future. I am so happy to be bringing all of this together with everyone's help. And I think that's beautiful about this, is the fact that we're not forcing ourselves to do this and making other people enjoy it. We are literally, this is part of the appeal of crowdfunding to me, is that we are being judged by other people and they think, yes, I want this to be real and I will support this. I support you. Here is the resources that I can provide to help you make this good because I know in my heart I will enjoy it. And I think that's beautiful. I think that is just lovely. And yeah, the next 60 days are going to be very, very fun, I think, in that regard.
I am looking forward to what these next 60 days have to offer. And I know in my heart of hearts that everything's going to be just okay. I don't have a shadow of a doubt in my mind at all. And, you have 100% of my support, the cast, and, everyone out here who's listening or who have been listening. And, as of right now, it's kind of like that one game where it's like, time to play the waiting game, kids, when we could honestly be playing, Hungry Hippos.
Oh, yeah.
But other than that, we're now coming to our closing remarks. Do you have anything you want to tell the audience, myself, anything at all that might be on your mind that you want to go ahead and get out in the open while you have this time? This is completely, your floor. Honestly, it's been your floor the entire time here, but, it's now more of your floor.
Yeah. Well, I guess I could take this time to answer a question that a lot of people do ask me. It's, how did you get into this? How did you get into writing? How did you get into voice acting? How did you start your show? Where did you actually find yourself in a position to do that? And I will not bullshit you by saying you can achieve anything you want. I can honestly say that if I was not living with a family that supported me as much as they have been, if I was not in a position where I didn't have to support other people myself and, work 9 to 5, 7 days a week, which is pretty much what you have to do these days, I would not have been able to do what I want. There is a certain amount of privilege involved in what I do and what I have done, and what we all do when we chase our dreams. We find ourselves in a certain privilege where we find ourselves able to make that kind of leap to chase our dreams. And I wouldn't say that in a way that dissuades people from trying, because there is always the chance you'll find yourself in a better position, or you'll find yourself with people that can help you be in a position for you to chase your dreams. So I would say nothing is ever not a team effort. So you can say it's never going to be just you against the world, because there will always be other people around you willing to help you. So, yeah, count that as your privilege, is the people you know and the people who will support you through life and through your own success.
Powerful stuff right there. Honestly speaking, that's actually some really powerful stuff. And I agree with it wholeheartedly.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the Academy. I'd like to thank God. I'd like to thank God. All right.
We'll send you your award through the mail.
Well, thank you kindly, sir. I appreciate that very much. I have to prepare myself for impressions, if you can't tell. That was meant to be Matthew McConaughey, but it just came out as some drunk Texan.
All in due time, right?
Yep, all in due time. I will master it one day.
With enough practice, push-ups, and plenty of juice.
Practice. And plenty of staring out the window looking at the rain.
Oh yeah, that too. God, that too. But without further ado, thank you very much, Reece, for coming on and talking to me and talking to everyone else as well that will be listening to this later on. I've had nothing but a blast.
Thank you very much for having me.
No, seriously, the pleasure's all mine. This was like an experience for me. This was great.
It's been fun for me as well. I'm beaming right now. I'm just having so much fun doing this.
I enjoy doing these kind of interviews where everybody's just really relaxed and the people can actually see who it is behind creating all that content. I love that aspect. It just makes them seem more. It makes the creator feel more natural than just hey, a person behind a computer screen is creating this, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's all I want to do with this. That's what I love, and I will continue doing this until the day I stop breathing, or until the day they stop making strawberry shortcake ice cream.
They make strawberry shortcake ice cream?
Actually, yes. It comes in both the form of like a little tub of this stuff and like a popsicle form as well. It's been like my favorite thing since I was like a little kid. I love those things.
I am a total purist when it comes to ice cream, like vanilla or chocolate. That's like the two I don't even swirl. I can't even stand a swirl of vanilla and chocolate ice cream. Yeah, it's kind of weird like that. But yeah, ice cream's good.
Ice cream is good. I might get some later. I might. But
if you take nothing from this call if you take nothing else from this call, just take ice cream is good.
That's right. Ice cream is good. Well, I don't have any more questions for you. I think this interview went swimmingly. Reece, once again, thank you for having me. Thank you for coming on here.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure's all mine. And without that, everyone, this has been DryeGuy, and this has also been Reece.